So it's Wednesday, which means when you're watching this video, chances are there's a good possibility I'm actually working. Yeah, I had to work all day today, so that's the reason why I'm filming this vlog of randomness on Tuesday evening. And the fact with the time change and the switch over from daylight savings time, it's legitimately 6:30 right now, and it feels like it's midnight. I don't like this getting dark early thing because it's starting to mess with my mind and it makes me want to sleep earlier. I took a nap earlier, which is something I never do. I was just bored. I laid on the couch, took a nap, listened to Cinema Sins till I fell asleep. That's just how it worked. There's no one here, so obviously I just want to lay on the couch and relax since I didn't have to work today. But this is your Wednesday video, which means since it's the Wednesday video, I can officially say 21 days and I'll be back in Orlando again, enjoying the wonderful events of Reunion 2014 via my good friends at WDW Today, coinciding with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And of course, on top of that, I get to see all my awesome Orlando friends hanging out at Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando. I will make my return to both Pop Century and Cabana Bay Beach Resort, so makes sense. I think it'd make more sense if I was going to Art of Animation and Cabana Bay, because they're kind of the same brand for different brands, but it's Pop and Cabana, and right at the start, as it is to be the normalcy when it comes to a reunion trip, I spend the first night in a deluxe resort, and this time I finish my monorail loop by staying at the Bay Lake Tower at the Contemporary. So I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, in 2012 for Reunion, I stayed at the Polynesian. Before all the construction, I was in Tahiti and everything. It was awesome. Watched Wishes on the Poly Beach. Got video on this channel. That was back when I was filming with the iPod, and it was like the upside down videos. You know, the ones that like, they're not like this, they're like this. And they're really annoying to watch. I understand that now. I'm glad I'm filming this way now because it makes more sense. And last year, I stayed at the Grand Floridian, so this year, it's Bay Lake Tower. So I wanted to hit the Poly, the Grand Floridian, and the Contemporary, and who knows what's going to happen in 2015. I actually have a brand new plan for December's trips, but we'll talk about that in the coming months ahead, since the fact that we are several weeks away from December. It's crazy, isn't it? This year's gone by so fast. And I'm positive that once I come back here on December 12th at nearly 11 p.m. that night, and we begin the 2-hour drive back from Columbus, and I head back here, and I get up the next morning, and AJ and I hit the theaters again to watch movies, it's going to be so long until September 20th when I get to go back to Orlando again. But I made up for the fact that I'm allowing myself a third trip next year. Only for next year because it's such a special year. A third trip just so I can be there in attendance for the last week of Halloween Horror Nights. So if everything goes according to plan, I will be in attendance for Employee Preview Night. That's a fingers crossed right there. Easily the opening weekend of Halloween Horror Nights. A Sunday at Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood, the second week of Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, and the final week of Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. So, it should be really awesome if that works out, and I'm sure it's going to. I have to cross the T's and dot the lowercase j's, and then I'll hopefully work everything out. But, obviously the vlog of randomness is basically set upon a topic. It's a random topic. My random topic is a topic that I wanted to do last week, but I decided I wanted to throw you guys a slice of reality and what's going on with me personally, and I would let you in a little bit more than I normally do. And obviously, I'm not going to go into my personal life when it comes to the opposite sex, but I will state that I let you in a little bit more than I normally would. So that was a little slice of reality. So this week right now is actually going to be something a little different. I actually planned on scratching my eye on camera. I planned on doing this video last week, so this is this week's video that was supposed to be last week, and I'm going to focus on solo traveling. So, obviously, since 2006, I have been going back to Walt Disney World. Now, in 2006, that was my first time back since 1998. And 1998 was my last trip to the world before I took a very long sabbatical. Now, hindsight being 2020, I really wish I wouldn't have taken that long break. I would have been there for the Millennium Celebration, would have been able to enjoy Pleasure Island a lot more before they took it away from us. I would have been able to fully enjoy everything. But then again, taking that long of a break once everything was new again. So a lot of stuff I did not get to experience in my previous trips. And a lot of new rides, a lot of new attractions, and a lot of new things that I just completely were new to me, so I wanted to make sure I did it right. So as we rewind back in our Wayback Machine to 2006, I started chatting with a lot of my friends. And back in the day, we went by the term the gang, and it wasn't like that. It was just, we were a group of friends, and the only member of the quote-unquote gang that's left over is my best friend, AJ. And thankfully, him and I have helped make Pop such a success. Well, it was a lot of my friends I worked with. Back in those days, my old place was the place everyone wanted to hang out. Obviously, there was no parental supervision, and we didn't do anything crazy or anything like that. But there were some really fun times. A lot of game nights, a lot of Guitar Hero, like everybody else getting drunk and me writing down what they said just so I can prove it to them later, because I was the straight edge one of the group. So, that was a fun time. Well, I wanted to get together and do a group trip to Walt Disney World. It was my first time since 1998, and I wanted to do it right. Well, one by one, everyone dropped out. I mean, everyone dropped out, except for one, and that was my friend Grayson. At the time, Grayson was basically living with me, in all essence, and he actually worked with me, so it worked perfectly. The arrangement was really great, but he went with me to Walt Disney World, and it was my first trip since 1998. So, we actually got the dining plan for the trip, and my mom pretty much facilitated him being able to go with me. And it was a short trip, nothing compared to what I do now. But, I mean, I'm doing 2 weeks now, and this was a week. So, I just wanted to go and enjoy myself. I stayed at the All-Star Movies, and this was way before any of the craziness started. It was a fun trip, but it was with another person. So obviously when you're with someone else, you have to adhere to what they want to do. Makes sense, right? Compromise. Compromise, compromise. That is what you learn when you travel with others. And when you are growing up and you're going to your family trips, like you're going on a family camping trip or family fishing trip, or you go to see a sporting event or go to a zoo or anything like that, you have to compromise, obviously. But when you're a child, you're not really having to compromise much. You basically just do what your parents tell you to do. So, this was a completely new experience for me. And other than that, previously, the only solo trips I did was when my mom would be on the road. I went to visit her while she was working when she was in Massachusetts and when she was in Kansas. So I went to Tewksbury, Massachusetts, which is outside of Boston, and I went and joined my mom for a week. And then I went to Shawnee, Kansas, and I visited my mom for a week. So basically, other than that, I really didn't do many trips. I kind of just stayed here in this town. Now, I know I couldn't do that. Because obviously, once you get a taste of getting out of this area or getting out of your comfort zone, you want more. Now, some people want less, but I wanted more, because obviously I enjoy traveling. So, this trip went really well. The next year, it would not be repeated. Not as it was. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I had a great time hanging out with Grayson. It was a really fun trip. Super fun trip. But we realized real quick that I'm get up and go, and he was more relaxed, more what normal people would do to theme parks, honestly. Not to say that theme park fanatics like us are normal. I'm just saying that the general public probably doesn't want to be at rope drop, and the general public doesn't want to close out Pleasure Island, or the general public doesn't want to hop between 4 theme parks in one day just to ride one attraction and be able to say they did. So needless to say, there would be many nights I would go back to the hotel and basically drop Grayson off, in all essence, even though we were using Disney transportation. And after that was over, I'd go to Pleasure Island, go to the Comedy Warehouse, go see my friends, and I'd finish the night. And I did this nearly every night. Obviously, I'm a little older, a little wiser now, but I'm still going just as a breakneck pace as I always have been. In 2007, I decided I wanted to go back. And that's when I decided from this moment forward that I would start going every single year. And since 2007, I've been going on solo trips, with a few exceptions. Now, due to the nature of one of said solo trips, I will not be doing much commenting on it. I will state that 2011, by and large, was the greatest and the not so greatest Disney trip I've ever had, for a myriad of reasons. And due to the content, I'm not going into it. I can't. I emotionally, I can't. I really can't. But I will say that 2011 was a very special trip. And it was the last time that I actually had another person go with me. Until this year. And this year, it's kind of cheating because actually, I was already at Universal for a week, for opening week of Horror Nights, staying at Cabana Bay. First time I stayed on Universal property, which obviously that was great success. That's the reason I'm staying back there in December, and I'm going to be staying there in September and October, and yeah, I'll be at Cabana Bay a lot in 2015. I'm starting to look at that. Well, like I said, it's kind of cheating because after that week was over, I met my dad and my stepmother, and they joined me at Pop Century for a week, and then they left. And then I stayed for another couple of days. So, obviously, like I said, you have compromise, but they left me to be their tour guide, and I have no issues doing that because I know the area so well, and since I know the lay of the land so well when it comes to Disney and Universal, I am more than happy to take anyone around that I can, especially people that have never been before. Strangely enough, I found out, like, weeks later after I got back, that my aunt and my uncle were going to be going down the same time I was, exact same dates I was to Universal, so I'll probably take them around a bit as well. So that'll be cool. I love doing that. So, like I said, I'm more used to being a solo traveler than anything else. So, I think I have a little bit of reason why I can talk about this. Now, we're going to focus on the pros and the cons. Now, granted, obviously I don't drive. And I haven't been behind the wheel since my senior year of high school. That's a shoot. I haven't. And that's by choice. So, I know a lot of people give me flack for that, and it's probably hurt me in a lot of ways, but I deal with it. So, because I don't drive, these are solo trips that are done via flying. Now, granted, a long time ago I learned a sheer fact about myself. I'm kind of afraid of heights. But, in a weird caveat to that, I am not only afraid of heights, but for some odd reason that I've never been able to explain, I am scared of heights, but airplanes and roller coasters have never bothered me. Weirdly enough. Now, like an observation tower probably is not the greatest thing. And now, I have looked over the top of, in New York. I've been in New York before, and during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, I was actually on the ground watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes before our director of broadcast journalism, who was actually the reason why I went to New York in the first place, took us back to the hotel because it was way too crowded, way too congested, so we was like, you know what, forget this. We're just going to go back to the hotel and watch the parade on television like everyone else did while you're in New York. That's the equivalent of basically being like, okay, fine, I'll watch the ball drop on television. Hey, look outside. The ball's actually dropping. I could be there, but I'm not. So yeah, I had looked out from the top of the Empire State Building, and I watched some of the bands basically practicing before the parade. And it kind of freaked me out a bit. I don't really have vertigo, I don't believe. It's just, I don't really like necessarily being high up because maybe it's that unknown factor that you never know if something could happen, then all of a sudden, life becomes the Tower of Terror, legitimately. I'm sitting in the top floor of this house right now, and granted, it's not going to happen, But maybe the floor gives way and I fall through and I'm in the basement. Well, that's not going to happen. But I'm still up right now. But then again, I'm not, because obviously this is still the ground because everything is the basement. No idea why I got into that tangent. But I'm going to explain a little bit more. Now, I started to fly a lot more. I started out with Delta. Why? Because Delta was Disney's airline. When I was growing up watching the Disney commercials, the Disney connection to Delta, obviously through the ride, the Delta Dream Flight, and the fact that all the iconic commercials that I saw growing up ended with Delta, come fly the friendly skies, the official airline of Walt Disney World. So, I wanted to fly Delta. Delta's a little bit pricey. Now I know this, like, obviously, but before I was like, you know what, it's Delta, I'm gonna fly Delta. And the previous time I flew America West. So, obviously that doesn't even exist anymore. And then I discovered the joys of Southwest. Southwest is glorious, but it requires me to get a ride to and from Columbus, which is not always easy. So I started having to rely on United through Charleston, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on who's driving. And obviously my time may be off on that. It should be about that far from here, maybe a little bit more than an hour. Just kind of like I said, it depends on who's driving. It's 45 minutes to get to Athens, so I mean, maybe it's like over an hour to get to Charleston. Like I said, my when it comes to timing, when I'm riding in a vehicle, I don't really pay attention. I was like, okay, I look at the Garmin, I was like, okay, when am I going to get there? Hey, I'm here like 20 minutes early. This is awesome. Let's get out of this vehicle. Let me get on a plane. Let's go home again. So basically, that's how it works. And I do have an airport, a very small airport that is down the road from my house. But the problem is those flights are like $400, $500, which obviously I don't got. So I try my best to secure ways to get to Columbus, or even a lesser extent go to Charleston. So I fly. So you're paying as a solo traveler to fly. Let's talk about pros and cons here. The pro, you basically can get a flight whenever you want, unless you're in my situation and you have to depend on others to take you to and from the airport. Then you have to pretty much adhere to what they want. So nothing too early and nothing too late. But then again, that's always subject to change depending on who is picking me up at the time. Not gonna lie about that. Two, you don't necessarily have someone you know on the plane with you. So the person next to you could be some guy that is annoying, or some guy that doesn't talk at all, or someone that just doesn't pay attention, and you can't try to hold a friendly conversation because they're too busy on their iPod, or just they're not personable whatsoever. It's just, you never know. I mean, it's a kind of a con because you never know who you might meet on the plane. So that's kind of a con. The pro, obviously, if you bring someone with you, is you have someone sitting with you and someone you can chat with the whole time. And that's kind of nice. It really is. It's only happened a few times, but it's been nice both times. I'm not going to lie about that. Now, I don't see myself changing anything. I do think that next year will probably be another time where I actually get to experience that, flying with someone again. But it's been a while, so like I said, that's a pro, to be able to fly with someone versus being able to fly by yourself. So pretty much you can set your own schedule. And once you get to the airport, if you're by yourself, you can jettison to wherever you got to go. If you need to go straight to the taxi, or in this case, the Magical Express bus, or to go down to the Mears desk and get transportation, or if you drive, you could go to the dealership that's on property so you can rent a car and you can get out of the property that way. Sometimes if you're with someone, it's not necessarily like that. Now, granted, it could be, but maybe they need to, it's like, oh, I need a souvenir, or I need to get some food, or something like that. So you have to adhere to what they want to do in the airport, just like what you want to do. So that's another con, I guess you would say. Kind of a pro, kind of a con, because that's one of the things. Now, when you're by yourself, you can set your own schedule. If you want to wake up at 4 a.m., you can wake up at 4 a.m. I don't advise it. I don't know why you would, but you could wake up at 4 a.m. If you're with someone, you might not be waking up at 4 a.m. unless everyone else is a morning person just like you. Otherwise, you may have to wait a little bit longer, or you just might have to leave their butt at the hotel and let them join you on later in the day. I've done that before. But it just kind of depends. So, you set your own schedule, set your own time. A big con is, when you're in the parks, obviously, you're waiting in line. It doesn't matter what time of year. It doesn't matter how long or short, you're waiting in a line. Well, when you're waiting in line and you're with someone, it's awesome. You just chat with them. Chat with them about whatever and whatever. And you might be able to make friends in line. Now, if you're not with someone, you have to make friends in line if you want to talk to anybody. You strike up a conversation with somebody, and I can actually say this. During the Year of a Million Dreams, I met this family, and I told them about the Year of a Million Dreams. And they were excited about it, went on their merry way. They didn't know what was going on. They were just enjoying their vacation, their once-in-a-lifetime vacation, and they didn't know anything about the Year of a Million Dreams. It was just something that was going on, something that like, oh, I don't know, it's like I see these people show up and they've got satchels with the logos on them. I don't know what's going on. It seems like everybody's excited when they see them, but, I don't know anything that's going on. So I told them what happened. And sure enough, later on in the vacation, I actually found out that they had won a prize in the Year of a Million Dreams. And they wouldn't have known about any of it if it weren't for me telling them. That's not putting myself over, that's just saying that they just didn't know. And I told them, and they won, and that was awesome. So you can make friends in line. And you can, in my case, you can network in line, because you can, here, have a pop business card, and check out my YouTube channel. Let's see what you think of it. I mean, a lot of networking is done waiting in line, not gonna lie about that. And then you hear people that just are misinformed, or they just don't know. I mean, not everybody does super planning. Some people just go by the seat of their pants, and this day and age, it's not that easy to do anymore, because with stuff like FastPass Plus, and Universal Express, and Busch Gardens, and SeaWorld's Quick Queue, it's a lot to take in. It's very helpful, but if you don't understand it, it may be a little overwhelming. So in that case, I try to help give people a little bit of insight. Like when, I'll give you an example as well. Halloween Horror Nights this year, I had attended team member preview, thanks to sheer luck. Joe and I went to team member preview. So because of this, because of a very, very nice team member at IOA that actually got us in, I was able to go. So I was able to have already seen all the houses. So when I'm walking up on the annual pass holder event line and I run into my friends, they ask me, because they know I've already been there, so Owen, what's with the houses this year? And I'm able to tell them. And I'm able to give them some advice, like, okay, you need to go here, here, and here, and as long as you go here, here, and here, you won't run into such a bottleneck, and you can make sure you attend everything that you want to see, and you'll still have time to hit stuff later on in the evening. Again, repeat things, repeat houses, repeat shows, and you'll still have a great time. So yeah, you can actually make friends really well in line, so that's kind of a plus. Going as a solo, you can make friends in line that you don't know. And I've met a lot of friends in line that now I do know, and now that have become good friends of mine. A con about going by yourself is another fact that obviously you have to plan, or you have to do everything. Or if you don't want to be like, okay, I don't know, I don't really want to do anything, can someone else decide? And you're one of those people that just I want someone else to make my decisions for me. Now, granted, there are people like that out there, and I understand that. They want to be directed around the parks. They want to be like, okay, I want to do this, but you know what, I'm going to put these all in your hands, and you can just tell me where to go, and I'll be there. You can't do that if you are by yourself, because you can't laze back. You actually just have to do whatever you want. You don't have anybody else that could say, oh, by the way, you should do this. I mean, you could find out from friends if you really want to do that. Do stuff like Twitter and Facebook. You can find out, it's hey, where should I go today? And you could do it that way. But if you're by yourself, you can't really do that. Not in person. You have to, you can actually meet up with people that you know, which is something I do. I have a lot of friends in Orlando, so obviously I meet up with friends in the parks. So I'm never completely alone when I'm down either at Disney or Universal. More alone than anything probably at SeaWorld, and that's probably because most of the time I don't really see anybody I know at SeaWorld. Actually, I haven't yet. I have not seen someone I've known at SeaWorld yet. I've not seen someone that's recognized me from here. I've not seen somebody that's been a friend of mine that was just in the parks that day. I get recognized at Universal like all the time. Disney, it's very rare, but it happens. And I haven't been to Busch Gardens yet. I'm working on that right now. So, yeah, it's one of those things you just have to understand that you're the one that has to be in charge. But that's a great thing sometimes. If you just want to laze in the pool and not even go to the parks, and maybe at the end of the day, just get out of the pool, and you're now shriveled up like a raisin because obviously you've been in a pool all day, and you just want to go out, get some food, go to a movie maybe, or head up and maybe do some bowling and maybe a Splitsville, or you could go to Galaxy Bowl at Cabana Bay, or Kings Bowl on iDrive in Orlando. I mean, if you want to do that, you can, because you set your own schedule. It's only up to you what you do if you're a solo traveler. And that's a good thing sometimes. But I'm not going to lie, sometimes it does get kind of lonely. It really does. Now, I talk to you guys every single day, and I appreciate that, and I hope you guys out there appreciate that. But sometimes I'm just by myself in the parks. I don't have friends with me. I just have to make friends in line. Or I have to just walk around and just hit things silently and just enjoy myself by myself. Sometimes that's super awesome. Sometimes, like I said, it gets kind of lonely. So it's nice to have someone that you know in the park, no matter if they're actually with you or if you just run into them. Because if I run into you in the park, there's a good chance that we're going to hang for at least a little bit until we both go on our merry ways. And that's a good thing sometimes. Sometimes it's good to have interaction. Sometimes it's good to be alone. But sometimes it's really great to have interaction. But yeah, that's pretty much the reason why I think that going to a theme park as a solo traveler, there's a lot of pros to it. Set your own schedule, do whatever you want, whenever you want. You have nobody or nothing holding you back. The only thing holding you back is your credit card, basically. You want to just do things on the spur of the moment. Like, I'll give you another example. This year, I lost my debit card at City Walk. Yeah, that happened like 2 days into my trip. What happened after this? I started using my credit card. That's the reason why my credit card got put up so heavy. And it's not changing anytime soon, obviously, because I'm going to be going back in 21 days. But, which is amazing, because it's in a couple days it'll be in the teens. I'm so excited about that. But still, I just had like a whim. On my birthday, I was like, you know what? I wanted to hang out with my friend Joe. He was busy. He was doing other things, so he wasn't able to hang out. So what I do, it was a rainy day. I got to the parks. I did a little bit of things. Then it started to pour down the rain. I decided, you know what? I want to do something else. So I went to the Blue Man Group. On the spur of the moment, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Blue Man Group. And what happened? I was by myself at Blue Man Group, and I was sitting by myself. Show was about to start. I was enjoying the ambiance. The theater's amazing. The Sharp Aquos Theater. It's hard to pronounce. Sorry, long day. It's an awesome theater. Obviously, it's where Nickelodeon used to film. And so that's really cool for me because I'm a Nickelodeon mark from back in the day. Not so much now, but back in the day I really was, because I grew up on Nickelodeon and Disney, because that's pretty much how it worked. And that's what Disney and Universal were at the time, Nickelodeon and Disney. So I looked at it from that perspective. Well, I'm sitting by myself, and all of a sudden an usher comes up to me and says, we would like to know if you'd like to join us in our poncho section. I was like, absolutely, I'd like to join you in our poncho section. And he goes, where would you like to sit? And my response is, you know what? Put me where you think I need to be. So I go from middle of the theater to the left-hand side on the second row from the stage. That happens when you're a solo traveler. When you're a solo traveler, sometimes, doesn't happen often, and I wouldn't think it would happen, but every once in a while it might. Maybe, just maybe, they let you go through the fast pass line. Maybe they backdoor you through the attraction. That happens sometimes. Not very often, but it does happen. Maybe you can get that little perk that you wouldn't have gotten if you were with someone. Maybe there's one ticket left for an event, and you can get it because there's no one with you. So yeah, that is a very big plus about going by yourself. Traveling with a group is great fun. It's always fun to be around people, but it gets kind of annoying sometimes, and we all need to get away every once in a while. So, obviously, when you're in family groups with friends, sometimes you just need time to yourself, and you got to get away. And then once you're recharged, you come back, and you enjoy time with the group again. Sometimes that's fun as well. Not getting away and coming back to the group. I mean, sometimes it's fun to be around a group. It's like the reunion group. The reunion group is spectacular. Through the time that I will be at reunion, I will be with my friends. Like, pretty much, like, exclusively with my friends. Now, when I head over to Universal, I'll meet up with people. So, I won't be by myself. And I've made enough friends in Florida that I'm usually not by myself. And through YouTube, I've known a lot of fans that watch this channel, and that's people that recognize me in the parks, and then, again, I'm not by myself. So yeah, that's one thing to look at. The pros and cons of being a solo traveler. Whether you get to make your own schedule, or you're kind of lonely because there's not people around. You always busy your time, and you always enjoy yourself, regardless if you go by yourself, or you go with 50 people in a gathering of your friends and family. It's nice sometimes just to go by yourself, and if you haven't before, I recommend just doing it once. Go solo just once, if you're able to. If it's in your means to go by yourself, do it. Make your own rules. Do anything you want to do. For people that are not used to going by themselves, and they're used to going in a group, or with family, or with friends, go by yourself just once. It'd be a completely different experience, and it's something that I definitely think that all of you out there would probably enjoy. So, that is the vlog of randomness for Wednesday, and join me tomorrow. We're going to be sipping snacking, of course. We're going to focus on some heavyweights in snack foods this week. We're going to talk about white fudge Oreos. We're going to go into the brand new birthday cake-filled M&Ms, and we're going to end with the Canadian Voortman holiday cookies. That's coming tomorrow. Friday, a brand new edition of AJ's Movie Reviews. It sounds to me like it's a foregone conclusion that something's coming. I don't have complete proof yet, other than the fact that I built it the other day. So it sounds to me like your version of AJ's Movie Reviews this week is going to be the movies that we watched in Athens the other day when we watched The Godfather, which are Laggies, which is phenomenal, and Dear White People. And on top of that, we have the movies that are actually coming to Regal this week, which are Dumb and Dumber 2, Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, and Beyond the Lights. And there should be one more coming of that. Jezebel is going to be coming soon as well. There's a lot of things still to come very soon. Check those out. Saturday, hopefully, Ashley will be returning with Gaming with Ash. If not, I do have something in mind if we want to go in that direction. Sunday, brand new verses, should be really fun, so I'm looking forward to that. As I always am, we're going to go gangsta theme again. Yeah, because somebody wanted it, so we're going to go back to our gangster theme again. It's not actually a theme week or anything like that. No, we're going back to the gangster movies. And if you are out there and you gave me a suggestion, you may or may not see your suggestion on Versus this week. And then, of course, we kick into the start of the week next week. Monday will be NXT and SmackDown, and Tuesday we'll go into Monday Night Raw. So, in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, went to Facebook and clicked like on our Facebook fan page. What are you waiting for? It is Suro and Disney Pop on Facebook, and if you noticed, if you've already clicked on there, and once you already click on there, you'll notice that I am now starting to post the daily videos on the fan page. So I will also be corresponding with people via the fan page. You can send me a message on that fan page too if you'd like to. If you'd like to just friend request me on Facebook, it's Owen Disney. If you're a fan of the show, or you like segments on here, or you like the Halloween Horror Nights videos, for whatever reason you found Pop and you like what you see and you want to tell me so via Facebook, send me a message, so I'll accept your friend request that way, because sometimes people send me friend requests, I've never heard of them before, they don't say anything, so I kind of get leery about it. Not like that, but I mean, sometimes it's kind of like, I don't know who's following me on Facebook, this is weird. But It's alright. If you're a fan of this channel, definitely send me a request on Facebook. I'll accept that. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, that is the best way to get a hold of me. It is @SirOwenDisney. I do respond to everyone on Twitter, and I love using my Twitter. I do appreciate follow backs, obviously. I do a Follow Friday every single Friday, and I put over all my friends, whether they follow me back or not, just so I can get the word out about the awesome people that I have on my list as my followers, people that I follow, and people that follow me, and vice versa. And things that actually go to the both categories. Also, finally, if you'd like to go to email, if you'd like to email me something, you want to send me a message, you want to ask me a question I can't answer on here for personal reasons, if you'd like to become a podcaster, we can hook that up. If you have ideas for Sip and Snack, obviously I don't drink, and obviously I'm an extremely picky eater, so keep that in mind. Or if you'd like to become a part of Sip and Snack and shoot a video of your own to put on this channel, we can hook that up as well. Or if you have a versus idea, or if you'd like to talk Halloween Horror Nights with me, or Disney, or Universal, ask me travel questions. I can answer questions if you'd like to go that direction. Or you'd like to talk wrestling with me, or since we're in the award season now, we can talk movies. If you want to do that, you can email me at sirowanddisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.